Good evening, and thank you for joining us for tonight's Auto Buying 101 webinar. My name is Jason Himes for Valley Strong Credit Union, and I'm joined this evening with Adam Garcia from our loan department. Before we begin, I'd like to cover some housekeeping items. We plan to answer as few questions from the audience. To submit a question, please click on the Q&A button on the bottom of your screen. We will answer as many questions as we can live, and if you feel your question has not been answered through a presentation, please fill out the survey after the webinar and supply your contact information. Someone will reach out to you directly to answer your question. Some questions may be more appropriate to discuss by an appointment. If this is the case, we will respond to you with Adam and our department's contact information and then dismiss your question. We had a lot of information to cover tonight, so I'm going to turn my video off now so we can focus on the presentation. And I will begin by introducing our speaker. Adam Garcia is the Central Lending Manager with 21 years of experience with auto financing. Adam has been with the Valley Strong Credit Union for 6 years. Adam, the floor is yours.
Good evening, and thank you everyone for joining me. Oh, there we go. Hopefully everyone's having a great night tonight. Welcome to the Auto Buying Workshop. We have some good tips and tricks for you to follow tonight for purchasing a vehicle, but we're going to go ahead and jump right on in. There we go. We're jumping on and jumped in a little too far. All right, apologize for that. First thing you want to think about is which car is right for you. Consider the type of car you want or need. Are you single or just starting a family? Are you going to keep the car for a few months, for a few years? Later on, I'll talk about negative equity in your trade, but I hate seeing people buy the wrong car now and try to trade it out for any reason but they can't. Are you like me and spend a lot of time in your car? I'm 6'2". I drive a small car because I like that a smaller car. So you have to decide to yourself, how big of a car do you want? But remember to always do your research before you buy. And make sure you're doing research on the types of cars that you're interested in, and maybe you might not even be interested and think that's too far out of your budget, just so you know exactly how much everything is. Also, something to keep in mind is what is the safety rating? How much is the car you're looking at worth versus how much it's being sold at right now? On the screen, I have 2 sites that you can check the market value of your existing auto, and even if your auto you want to buy in your existing auto if you do have a trade. But before we talk about trading in your car, it's good to know how much it's worth. And again, we'll get into trades a little later. One good way to always do research is by coming to the valleystrong.com page. You can search for used cars here. You can even build a new one. What's really nice is while on that page, if you scroll down a little, you can even search by a dealer here in the Valley or even apply online. And speaking of applying, there's really an easy way to go ahead and apply online. You can come into a branch, make an appointment with an FSO. You can do it online as you see here, or you can even give us a call. Right here, I'm looking at applying online. So it's just wanting to know not necessarily just about an auto, but you can even do a debt consolidation. You can lease buyout, you can purchase, you can refinance, and that's all found online. Really simple information, estimate a price that you're wanting to know and the make and model of the vehicle you're planning on purchase. Just some basic information to get you to apply. But while you're applying, have you ever thought about your FICO score and how your FICO score is calculated? The FICO is made up of your current, previous, and slow paid debts and unpaid debts. It uses a secret algorithm of your payment history, your total amount owed, and even new debts, all while constantly changing your FICO. 2 ways that are really easy to follow your FICO is you can get your 1 free credit report from any of the 3 bureaus, but the easiest way is the Valley Strong widget. And if you're signed up with DataNet, what you're going to do is you're going to go into the FICO widget. And as you see here, it'll show you exactly what your your FICO rating is now, or excuse me, your FICO score is now. It'll even give you items to work on. So if you see this one here, this person's the credit age, he's got a little lower on the score. So he just wants to work on keeping his credit open and paid well. What's really nice is maybe you've had a slow pay on your credit card. This will give you a somewhat of a live view to see what a late payment does to your credit report. And we always recommend before you go out shopping is to be current on all your debts. Meanwhile, while you're looking online, you're doing your research, you're finding out what kind of car you want, how much it's valued, how much it's going for. We recommend getting you pre-approved. Again, you can call, you can go online, you can stop by a branch and sit with an FSO, and any way we can get you pre-approved. The benefits are we can show you what your rate, your term, and your payment is before going out to the dealer. This gives you flexibility on where to buy in town and even out of town. If it's a dealer that we're not currently signed up with, it'll give all the information and numbers that they can call if they have questions or even where to send the deal. Makes the time at the dealer quicker, since you already have your financing. You don't have to go through theirs, and they don't have to pull your credit as much and send it to other lenders. If you go through a preferred dealer, they will pull your credit so that they can electronically submit all the information over to us. And having your credit pulled a couple of times is not bad. It's when you get into double digits where we start to get concerned. And even boosts your negotiation position, since you already know how much your payment's going to be. You already know what your gap and your warranty is, because when you come in to sit with an FSO or even talk online, they'll let you know exactly what the warranty and gap price is. So let me explain what a pre-approval looks like. This is what they're going to print out and give to you to take out to the dealers when you go out shopping. It's got the basic information on the type of vehicle you're looking for, and if you don't have that vehicle in mind, that's not a problem. Shows you the dollar amount and your interest rate. The interest rate when on the pre-approval will not reflect the 0.25% discount we give for you doing auto pay directly out of your checking or savings. It does show you the term there, and all of our pre-approvals are good for 90 days. If you'll also notice here, it shows you how much your gap, and your guarantee asset protection costs. It's $450 to purchase it from Valley Strong. And if you do use the gap, if your vehicle is deemed a total loss, you may receive up to $1,000 towards your next purchase. But the best part about this is it also has our mechanical breakdown protection information on there, or your warranty. When you go and you get time to go sit in front of that dealer, down in the bottom left-hand corner, there is always going to be a phone number for you to call, and you can get our price too. So you can outweigh the difference. So we got you pre-approved. While we're talking about the pre-approval, what other type of loans do we do? Of course, we do autos, RVs, travel trailers, horse trailers, motorhomes, cargo trailers, any type of watercraft, jet skis, boats, motorcycles, ATVs, off-road vehicles. We even have home equity loans, and they have a webinar coming up soon. We also do unsecured loans, Visa credit cards. We have personal loans with ready cash loans. We're seeing a lot of personal loans right now. Air conditionings are unfortunately going out. So we do see a lot of those, and that we will put under our Homeowners Plus. Our Homeowners Plus loan works a little differently than our regular personal loan. You can just speak with your FSO on that, and it is not a secured loan. It is an unsecured loan. And we now offer solar HVAC and artificial turf loans as well. See your FSO about that. And if you're a teacher out there, we do offer classroom supply loans and an educator loan. We have a lot of different choices for you, not just the autos. So we got you pre-approved. You're still looking, doing your research, wondering what vehicle. Have you ever thought about how auto loans work? The shorter the term, the lower the rate. But that may lead to a higher payment. So remember, a low payment doesn't always mean you're saving money. With a low payment, you might be extending out your term. So you have to ask yourself, are you payment driven or are you rate driven? I'm going to show you the breakdown of our lowest rate versus the dealer 0% in the next slide. But always remember, you can refinance with us at any time. And remember, if you do have a lower FICO now, we offer what is called a FICO refresh. After 6 months of a loan being on your credit, it's going to help your FICO score. Give us a call or come in and we will adjust your rate and your payment down to what it should be off of your new FICO. So that's a really great program we have. So this next screen, we're going to show you what we offer at our lowest rate versus the dealer is 0%. And we're not seeing a lot of 0% loans right now from the dealer, but they do tend to pop up from time to time. The beginning of last year, that's all we saw. But remember, when it comes to a 0%, you cannot negotiate the sales price. The dealers offer a 0% or a rebate. So let's say with us, we take the rebate and maybe even negotiate the price down just a little. So here's the breakdown on the difference. If you're financing $30,000 from the dealer at the 66 month for 0%, it's a $455 payment. If we get that rebate, negotiate it down even just a little, and we're at the same term at our rate of 3.49, we're looking at a $453 payment. Yes, you're paying interest on the lower amount, but you're already paying less for the car, which is why it's giving you a lower payment. And speaking of dealers, how do dealers make the money? Make their money. New vehicles do have little margins to make dealer money, while used has bigger margins. Now we're seeing something different in the market these days with, unfortunately, COVID happened last year, and a lot of people went out and bought used vehicles. So the Blue Book values have increased over the last year or so. But remember, they're only going to increase for so long. They will come back down. So be careful when you are out shopping. Make sure you do know the value of that vehicle that you're purchasing and weigh that against the sales price to see if it is a deal for you. So something else you also want to remember is, do you want the car right now when we're talking about add-ons? I like having a roof rack put on. I put window tinted on mine, but I might pay a little more. Those add-ons can be added to your payment. But remember, you are paying interest on those items. And sometimes you will pay a premium if you purchase through the dealers versus someone online. But when I drive away on my car, I like it to be done and ready to go. I don't have to worry about any of that. Plus, they can be all put into your payment. How long should it take? Well, that's really hard to say, but my best is about 3 hours, but it does take some time to get through the full process. If you know what type of vehicle you're going in and you've done your research, it will take less. And remember, as scary as I may make it sound, or other people and their experiences, as long as you do your homework and you know what you're buying, you know what your trade is worth, and you know what the vehicle you're buying is worth, you won't have a problem. Plus, you always remember, you can always walk away and come back later. So don't be afraid of the dealers. So what do we look at it in dealership? Well, it's really up to you, but remember, new or used dealers, make sure you do your research on them as well. See what people are saying about them online, on Google or wherever else. Remember, buying local, we keep the taxes here in Bakersfield. And versus online or outside the area, online is becoming more and more popular. Whether it's with a website like Carvana or even one of our local dealers, if you talk to them online, it's becoming more and more popular. Remember, they'll even ship it straight to your house, even the dealers here in town. But with a local dealer, what they're going to have you do is speak to the online department. What's nice about that is they'll give you a price for the vehicle you're looking at and who to speak with if you do show up to the dealership. So that is good from time to time if you like that. A dealership or a private party, you can go to the dealer or come to Valley Strong with the seller, which is what we consider private party. If you come to the branch, we'll do all the paperwork just like the dealer. So it's really up to you if you wanted to purchase at a dealership or a private party. Just remember, do your research on the prices that you are on the price of the vehicle. So leasing or financing. So just remember, with leasing, you don't own the vehicle, but you will have an option to purchase at the time of the lease end. Payments are almost always lower than financing because you're only making a payment off of a partial dollar amount of the vehicle. So that's why the payments are usually a little lower. Most leases mileage limit to about 12,000 to 15,000, but you can negotiate a higher limit at the purchase. So if you are someone who drives a lot, that might not be the best option for you. Going over your allotted mileage may cost up to and over 25 cents a mile, which tends to add up. At the end of the lease term, pay any costs due to the mileage, overage, or wear and tear, but you can walk away. And I'll talk about it a little later when it comes into trade. If you are upside down on your trade, a leasing option is always something to consider, because when you're done with the end of the lease, you walk away from the vehicle and anything else owed on it, as long as there's no other additional fees, and you are done. So it's a good option to think about. All right, we're coming into our first we're coming into our first questions session. Jason, do we have any questions out there?
Yeah, we have a question. One is, can you find the value of your trade through Kelley Blue Book?
Absolutely. You can go into Kelley Blue Book or kbb.com and just put in your VIN information. They'll ask you some questions about what's on your vehicle, cruise control, sunroof, moonroof, type of stereo, and they'll be able to get you a value. There's a section at the end of at kbb.com that'll tell you, how is your vehicle? Is it good or excellent? You can always just pick good. And if you ever really have more questions about it, give us a call and we'll be more than happy to book out your trade for you.
I've got one more. When is a good time to buy a car?
Well, I'm going to say it a lot and you guys are going to love it, but as long as you've done your research, any time is really a good time to buy a car. You always hear about the end of the year sales because of the new the new vehicles are coming out. That might not be always true if you watch your prices, if you do your research. So really anytime is a good time. Also remember, if you do go on a weekend, it seems to be busier and busier at the dealership, so the salesman might not be able to give you all the time that he has for you or that you want. So during the week, I always recommend going.
I got one more question. What's the financing like after the end of the lease term?
So you're going to finance the remainder of the dollar amount that's owed on the vehicle. So let's take if it's a $25,000, a $25,000 loan. They're going to tell you before you walk out that door what the residual value will be of what the vehicle will be worth after you're done making all of your payments for the lease. So if it's $25,000 loan and there's an $18,000 residual value, while you're driving around in your lease, you can always calculate what that your payment would be off residual value that they give you. But they'll be able to explain that a little more while you're out there talking to dealers. Anything else out there, Jason?
That's it for now.
All right, we're going to have another session, a question session at the end here. So we're going to move on. We've gotten pre-approved. We know what dealer we're going to go to. We've done our research. We're going to, if you decided not to buy online, if you're like myself, you like to walk into the dealer, do a test drive, let's go to the dealer. So we got our pre-approval in hand and we're ready to buy almost. Be careful of the verbal traps that dealers or salesmen may have for you. They'll always be more than happy to ask, how much payment can you afford? Well, if I can afford a $400 payment and the vehicle is only a $350 payment, I'll make sure it's $400 for me. How much down payment do you have? That's something I like to talk about later on. It's not anything I'm going to bring up front. That's, something for finance. And how's your credit, which I have been asked that question before, and I don't believe that should be a question. That's any other business. I'm on here to buy a car. But talk about your trade after you negotiated the sales price. But should you trade in your vehicle, like myself? So just remember, if you trade in your vehicle, you will typically lose about 10% of the value. But if you're like me, I always trade in my vehicle when I buy a new one. I like to drive away and not having to worry about selling my old car. If you decide to sell your old car, like Jason, who's out there doing our questioning, he'll put his car on Bakersfield.com or one of the other online ads. He will maybe end up making a little more money than I will, but you have to think about if you're the type of person who can make 2 payments in the meantime. If your current vehicle that you have is already financed, you're still going to have to make that payment. So if you drive away without trading in the vehicle, just make sure you're able to make both those payments. But in today's market, it does kind of seem like a seller's market with your trade-ins or your used vehicle. So, I wouldn't say not to do that. I just like the convenience of driving off the lot, not having another car. So we talked about it a little, but what does it mean to be upside down on your trade? Well, if the car you are trading in at the dealer has a value, I'm going to say about $10,000, but the loan on the vehicle is $12,000, you can still trade in the vehicle. Just remember that the difference between the value and the loan will be added to your new car. But remember, by doing this, it's going to raise how much you're financing and how much your payment is. But you'll walk away from your car. If you're really upside down, if the vehicle is only worth $10,000, but you have a loan on it for $20,000, you may want to consider the lease option. With the lease, you're only financing that portion of the vehicle. So there is some wiggle room for the negative balance. And remember, always when the lease is up, if you don't want to do a lease buyout and purchase that vehicle, you can walk away from that, owing nothing unless, of course, there's fees or anything else. So just remember that. And remember, everything is negotiable. The price of the vehicle is negotiable, the amount of your trade, the warranty and gap, everything is negotiable. Now, our warranties and gaps are such a low amount that unfortunately ours aren't negotiable, but remember the dealer they have a set cost that they're going to sell to you and see if they can do a better amount. Don't be afraid to negotiate. This is a vehicle, it's a long-term investment. So, don't be afraid to ask questions. Why is it costing that much? And I like to negotiate my trade last. If a dealer wants to know if I'm trading, I don't really talk about it too much. I don't bring it up. I just want to get into finance to get it done. Let them, I don't want them to adjust the car, any car price that I'm looking at, because they know I have a trade-in and it's worth so much. But remember to stay focused on the numbers, pay what you want, not what they want you to pay. So just remember that everything's negotiable. And while you're picked out your vehicle and you have your pre-approval, let's go into dealer financing. So the dealers will have to offer extended warranties. They have GAP, which again is the guaranteed asset protection. If the vehicle is totaled and it's owed to the loan more than what the vehicle is worth, the GAP will kick in to help you pay the rest. There's prepaid maintenance plans, which is really nice if you like to just drop off your car and have it worked on, oil change, and come back and have it all ready for you. That's great. Nowadays, they can find key replacement warranty for it. The keys are getting more and more expensive. Also, another thing real quick on the extended warranties. I do find it odd when a member has a 5-year loan, but they only do a 2-year warranty. So really make sure what the terms are on these when you go through finance and you purchase it. You need to decide how long you want it for, not the dealer. And remember, with the pre-approval, or even if you didn't get pre-approved, have our number ready, ask your FSO how much our warranty is. We can offer some things they can't, and vice versa. So that's always something you want to know. Paint protection and interior protection. We just had a team member purchase a new vehicle, and because they said we lived in the desert, the paint protection, interior protection was automatically put onto that vehicle. Well, it's funny because she actually ordered a new vehicle, and so the vehicle wasn't even here in town. So how is the paint interior protection already on the vehicle if it's not in town? Well, she found out later it was something she could have fought a little more and not got that on the vehicle. But if you like the type of protection, you can always put that on there. You can purchase roadside assistance from the dealer, but remember, it does come free with your Valley Strong Credit Union memberships. Talk to your FSO. And you can even purchase ding and dent repair and even tire and wheel repair from the dealer. So it's really up to you. They have a myriad of things that you can purchase. But that is pretty much it, as long as you remember to do your homework, check out the safety ratings of the vehicles you want to purchase, find out what the value is of your trade, know what the value is in your trade, make sure you're getting that value. How much are dealers selling that trade right now? How much are the dealers selling your car that you want to purchase right now versus outside the area selling that car? Just make sure to do your homework, stay focused on the numbers that you want. You know, don't be afraid to look at your phone to see what other people are doing at other dealers, meaning price-wise. You have a great asset right there. And if you ever need assistance, you can always call into your FSO and they'll be more than happy to help you and answer any questions that you have. And speaking of questions, we're coming into the end of our workshop. Is there any more questions out there, Jason?
Yeah, we have a few questions. First one, is there an advantage to leasing with the intention to buy later?
You know, I don't know that answer. It depends on what you like to do with your vehicle. Are you someone who likes to get the maintenance? When you lease it, they're going to maintain your vehicle for you. You still have to keep insurance on it. Unfortunately, I don't really have an answer for that. I would speak with the FSO. They'd be able to help you out with that.
And this
Can
one,
I help with that?
Absolutely. Sorry, that's Kyle, my director. He'll be more than happy to answer that.
this one goes in regards to what you talked about earlier with the verbal trap. Does this mean you should not answer the verbal traps?
Yeah, if someone came to me and said, how much are you willing to pay and how's your credit and how much down do you have? I would have no problem telling them that's, none of their business. I'm here to purchase a vehicle and I want to know how much you're selling it for. I know how much it's worth, and let's go from there and see if the vehicle is, if you go on a test drive and the vehicle is right for you, they're going to offer a price to you. And if you accept it, you can move on to the next portion to go to finance and let them know what your down is and your trade.
All righty. This is a good one. Does a credit union have a suggested place to donate your older car or old car?
You know what? Not that we don't have a suggested place. I know the Boys and Girls Club, I believe, will take that in town. Jason, do you know of anywhere else in town?
I believe Goodwill does.
Goodwill, a great place to go. We don't have an exact place. We've actually never discussed it. I will for the future, but that's a great question.
Can I help with that answer?
Absolutely. That's Kyle, my director here. He'll help you with that.
I was trying to answer the last question. I got cut off. So with that, you can go to a junkyard, a lot of them on South Union, and they will give you scrap metal prices for a vehicle, maybe $400 to $800, depending on what your vehicle is.
Good to know.
All righty. And another one. I owe $8,000 on my current loan and it's valued around $10,000. So a little over $2,000. How does this benefit me right now that I'm trying to buy a new car?
So if you owe $8,000 and your vehicle is worth $10,000, when you walk into the dealership, when you get to the part of the finance where you can discuss your down payment, then you will, as long as you get that $10,000 for that vehicle that it's worth, they'll put $2,000 cash down into your current vehicle. So if your new vehicle is worth $40,000, if your new vehicle is $40,000 with all the sales tax and everything, they'll minus out your positive trade, which would be the $2,000. So you'd be financing $48,000.
Can I answer the last question, the one question about the lease buyout thing?
Absolutely.
They asked. The biggest part with that, and actually I just did one today, is you can have a leased vehicle for 3 years and you love the vehicle and you want to kind of keep going with it for the next 4, 5, 6 years. then you can absolutely do a lease buyout, refinance it, and keep that vehicle for the next. The whole part of doing a lease initially is that you get a lower payment. And if you love the vehicle and want to keep it for a long time, then go ahead and refinance it. We can do a lease buyout and do a refinance.
Perfect, excellent, absolutely. And because remember, with your payment on your lease, it's only a payment of a portion of that vehicle, so your payment would be low. So if you had a lower payment for the first 3 years, you do decide to keep the vehicle, they can send all the information over to us. We get it approved, and I'll have your. It might be a different payment amount, but that's definitely an option to do. Anything else out there, Jason?
Yeah, we got a few more.
Perfect.
When Valley Strong Auto Loan clients get an auto loan, does the client have to have an insurance add-on to the loan to guarantee payment in the case of death?
That does not necessarily have to added. It doesn't have to be added to the loan. We do have an option for that you can purchase through the FSO, but it is not mandatory.
And do you have to wait to buy a new car if you recently refinanced your auto?
If you just recently refinanced your auto, if you're wanting to trade that in, you've already paid down a portion of it with your last lien holder. You're now with our, let's say you're with us with your new lien holder. No, absolutely not. You can definitely calculate how much the vehicle you're in, how much it's worth, take that into the dealer and negotiate it. Depending on how long that you've had your original auto for, if there was negative equity or anything like that, that might, make some changes. But yeah, if you just refinanced your vehicle, absolutely not. You can go in and take a look at a new one.
Good. When is good, excuse me, why is it good to go through your credit union as opposed to a big bank?
Well, besides having, us, our wonderful smile, credit unions were a local institution. We have, we're here in Bakersfield. We all live here in Bakersfield. It's, being a local, we have special rates for you. We do other financing than just autos. So, you're keeping it here in Bakersfield on a bank, or excuse me, as a credit union that was brought up here in Bakersfield.
And somebody's requesting if you would go over the verbal traps again.
Absolutely. Let me go back here. Bring up my slide here. Sorry, everyone. Oh, here we go. So just a few of the verbal traps that actually have been said to me before is how much payment can you afford? And especially if a vehicle you're looking at is, a vehicle that's maybe on a $345 payment, I'm just throwing that number out, and you say you can afford a $400 payment, well, they'll make sure that they get you in a $400 payment. It could be either by raising the price of the vehicle or maybe not giving you as much on your trade, or even making sure that there's a large warranty there that on that contract when you go sign it. They'll make sure to get that payment to the dollar amount that you're requesting if you feel comfortable that you can make a payment of $400. How much down payment do you have? I hold that till we go into financing. It's a salesman asking that so he can tell his boss so they can work up a price. Well, if I have $10,000 down and the vehicle is the vehicle is for sale for $20,000. Well, if I don't know that ahead of time, it might be now for sale for $22,000. It does happen, unfortunately, but if they know that I have a big down, they might be able to wiggle their price up a little just so that they can make more out of the deal instead of financing the correct amount it should be. And of course, I've been asked this one, and this was my favorite question, is how's your credit? That's great and all, but especially if I'm pre-approved, that it's not up to them. If you do have a lower FICO score, don't be afraid to come in and talk to us about it. There is a special types of financing that we can do for you, plus other banks and credit unions also. But that's the main three that I've been asked that always gets on me when I go out to purchase a car.
how likely is it they give you the estimated value of your trade-in?
Well, just remember, you got to stick to your guns. I've never had a problem with it, but it's something you need to stick to your guns. If you're buying a brand new car and this dealer's not willing to work with you, there's other dealers out there. If it's a used car and this is your absolute special vehicle that you don't want anything else, and they're not willing to give you as much as you want for it, that's something you're going to have to decide on your own. But just remember, you can use the fact of I'm already pre-approved. You don't have to worry about looking around for financing for me. I know how much this vehicle is worth. Like the person said before, my vehicle is worth $10,000. I deserve $10,000 to pay off this, or maybe even more. So stick to your guns. You can always walk away. You can always come back later if you decide to take what they decide or what they told you. I know it sounds, you're there for 3 hours plus for a reason. That the dealers do this all day long. We don't. So, make sure, your prices, you stick to your guns, have a snack ready, get some water and be prepared to fight a little. It's a game that you need to know how to play. And if you know someone who knows how to play it really well, like some family members that don't have a problem, hounding the dealers, take them along with you.
Here's one. I'm self-employed. Can I finance with you?
Absolutely. We have self-employed financing available. We may ask for your 2 years tax returns, including your Schedule C. But absolutely, we can definitely finance you. Great question.
And here's one more. What is the average time to get a loan approved?
We actually, if you come into the FSO or financial service officer, you call in or you apply online. Depending on when you apply online, it might take a little longer just because if it's, not our normal hours or on the weekends. But it just takes about 10 minutes to get your information inputted. Underwriter has 10 minutes to review it and answer back the FSO. And it's a real quick process. So if you have your favorite branch and your favorite FSO to talk to, just make an appointment and they'll get you in.
How much is what is a good amount for down payment?
You don't always have to have a down payment. There's not really a set amount that we have, depending on, if you've paid auto histories in the past. I would love to say, hey, 10% is a great dollar amount, but you may not need a down payment, depending on what type of credit you have. There's really no set answer on that.
How far in advance should I apply for a car loan?
Our pre-approvals are good for 90 days. So as long as you're doing your homework and you kind of know the dollar amount that you'd like to purchase, you got plenty of time to come on in so that we can show you what your payment will be, your rate. And if you decide to do the auto pay, the 0.25% discount, we'll show you everything that you need to know. And you have 90 days to look around and to figure out that vehicle, to go to a dealer if they don't, answer all your needs, to find someone new, but you got plenty of time.
Well, that seems about all the questions. We might have one more question coming in. What is the max for an auto loan or an RV loan?
Maximum for an auto loan, we just did a $150,000 Lamborghini the other day. The member had a nice down, but we don't really have a maximum on the books. We have our director online who has a higher limit than I do, but we've seen $300,000 autos and RVs, so it's nothing we see every day, but we really don't have a maximum.
Oh. What is an APR Valley Strong Credit Union offering? Are you offering a discounted rate for attending this webinar? Is there any discounts for this on rates for attending this webinar?
So we have, the only discount we offer is the 0.25% discount if you do an auto pay. And that is, you do an auto pay out of your savings or checking, and we'll give you a 0.25% discount. Unfortunately, they don't let me offer special rates for the auto buying workshop, but that is definitely something to think about in the future.
And how do I connect my auto loan with the dealership I choose?
What you want, meaning if you get pre-approved, what dealership can you go to? That kind of sounds like it.
Yeah, I think that's what they're.
Sure. So with your pre-approval, it'll have all of our information on there. So you can go anywhere in the state of California with your pre-approval. So it's definitely up to you on where you want to buy. A lot of members take our pre-approvals down to the Los Angeles. And what that does is just give them all the information that they need on who to talk to if they have questions, and what your rate and dollar amount that you're approved for and term. And if there's any additional stipulations, that'll all be on there too.
Is it good to have a pre-approval for the actual dealership where you want to get your car? Or do you recommend having a pre-approval through Valley Strong Credit Union as opposed to through the dealership?
Well, you can go straight to the dealership and they can electronically submit your loan application to the underwriters, which will take, about 10 minutes to turn around an approval, depending on what type of day it is. They do work 7 days a week, so they're always there for you. You don't have to come in for a pre-approval. We just usually recommend it for people so they know what their payment's going to be ahead of time. But if you're a seasoned veteran of buying cars, you absolutely can go straight out to the dealer and they can electronically submit all the information to the lending department, including all your documents that you need. So you don't even have to come in. If you're currently a member or not, they can open a membership. But if you are a member, you'll see that loan funded in just a few days, and you'll see that on your data net that you can make payments. Just remember, if you do go to the dealer, don't give us a call and make sure you sign up for that 0.25% discount for that auto pay.
What if you want to pay cash but go to the dealer with a pre-approval from you? What would that be possible to have both?
It is, I would say cash is a little more of a negotiating power than our pre-approval. With cash, cash speaks, as they say. So, if you are going to pay cash for a vehicle, I wouldn't worry about getting the pre-approval since they already know you can afford the vehicle. So if you had a cash sum, don't be afraid just to go straight out to the dealer. But if you had questions, if they do want to give you warranties and all that, you can always give us a call. We'll be more than happy to help you.
Well, that's all the questions we have. Thank you for joining us this evening. We hope you enjoyed the content and that we leave you feeling prepared for the auto purchasing process. After the end of the meeting, you will be presented with a link to take a short survey regarding today's webinar. This is where you can also ask additional questions if you feel your question was not answered in the presentation. Just be sure to include your contact information so someone can reach out to you. On behalf of Adam Garcia, our lending department, and Valley Strong Credit Union, thank you and have a great night.